In the middle of the night, Saskia awoke in a haze. Her husband Mike was on his laptop. What was on his screen would change Saskia's life forever.
I said, I need you to tell me exactly what you're doing. And immediately, the mask came off.
You're supposed to be safe. That's your home. That's your husband.
Listen to Betrayal Season 5 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey listeners, I'm Sean Flynn, host of the Brothers Ortiz podcast, and I'm excited to share this riveting story with you. But I'm also excited to tell you that you can now get access to all episodes of the Brothers Ortiz 100% ad-free and 1 week early through the iHeart True Crime Plus subscription, available exclusively on Apple Podcasts. Plus, you'll get access to other chart-topping true crime shows you love, like The Girlfriends, Paper Ghosts, Piketon Massacre, Murder Homes, Unrestorable, The Godmother, Betrayal, and more. So don't wait. Head to Apple Podcasts, search for iHeart True Crime Plus, and subscribe today.
RingCentral knows that businesses run on communication, and juggling separate systems for team collaboration and customer service creates confusion, missed opportunities, and frustrated customers. RingCentral changes everything with RingEX and RingCX, one powerful platform for your entire organization. RingEX keeps your team connected. Seamless calling, messaging, and video meetings, whether they're in the office or working remotely. Meanwhile, RingCX transforms your customer experience with AI-powered contact center capabilities that route calls intelligently and provide real-time insights. The magic happens when they work together. Your customer service agents can instantly collaborate with experts across your company to solve problems faster. No more transferring customers between systems or losing context. With over 500,000 businesses trusting RingCentral and 99.99% uptime reliability, you're in good company. Visit ringcentral.com. That's ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
Now here's a highlight from Coast to Coast AM on iHeartRadio.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Our special guest, Anna Maria Manello. Her website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. She's got, how many books do you have out now, Anna?
I have 8 now, and then another one coming out late summer, early fall.
We'll go through most of them today. Okay, tell us about the other stories you were going to get into before the break.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick here. I know we only have an hour.
Hold on. You're with us next hour for phone calls.
Oh, excellent. That's great. I'm going to tell you a couple of UFO stories, and then I'm going to step off from that one and go into the paranormal realm, because there's a lot of that as well. It's just really what you're interested in, what the audience is interested in. This one is closer to home. This once again involves a body of water. And George, I don't know what it is about UFOs and water. These two gentlemen were coming home from work. They were buddies. One gentleman happened to have just had an infant, a baby, and they decided they would go to a local watering hole. So they crossed the bridge into New Jersey and promptly parked at a very, very busy parking lot where everybody was already inside, having relaxing, having drinks, etc. And the one gentleman then approaches the door. They were parked right in the middle of the parking lot, a very, very busy parking lot. I can't tell you the name of the restaurant. But the other guy then says, oh, wait, I forgot the pictures I was going to show you of the baby. Yada, 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 yada. I got to get back there. He said, okay, I'll wait for you inside. And then the guy dashes out, goes back to his car, and opens the door of the back seat. He then climbs into the back seat, takes out the pictures, the envelope, whatever they were in. And as he pulls himself out and closes the door, he finds that he's alone in the parking lot. Only his car.
Did that surprise him?
Yeah. So we're talking just a few minutes here from when he left the door of the restaurant and told his friend he was going to go back and get the pictures, walking to the middle of the parking lot, going in and just, putting his head in into the car to get he looks back out, closes the door, and he's alone in the car.
All the cars are gone.
All the cars are gone. He then looks at his watch. And, when people are leaving work, let's say it's 5:30, 6 p.m., he finds that it's 1 a.m., according to his watch.
Missing time again.
And so he walks over, frantic, to the restaurant, looking for his friend. The restaurant's closed. The friend's sitting outside. And he said, "We have been looking for you. Where have you been? I even called the police. I called your wife. Where have you been?" And to this day, he couldn't explain what had happened to him.
Yet his car was always where it was, right?
Yet the car was always where it was. For some inexplicable reason, something happened to him. As soon as he climbed into the car to get the pictures.
Now, did he have marks on his body like the other lady did?
No, this time he didn't. There was nothing this time.
But he wasn't hurt, nothing like that.
He wasn't hurt, nothing like that.
What does he think happened to himself?
He doesn't know.
He just doesn't know.
He was at some point laughing, thinking, maybe I went in and had a ton of drinks and didn't realize.
Yeah.
But he wasn't inebriated.
When would they have scooped him up?
That's the good question, George. And I wonder about these things because it just seems to just happen without the person even realizing what predicament they're in. And this brings me to the next story, which also happened on another bridge in that same river. After all these stories, people were telling me, you better watch it when you're crossing those rivers.
Yeah.
Those bridges, so this is a bridge that's further up, I would say further down Bucks, lower Bucks. We have upper Bucks here, lower Bucks. This is a bridge in the lower Bucks area. A couple this time was approaching a bridge and they proceeded to cross it and they had to stop because there was a van ahead of them. And the van seemed to be moving, but all the doors were open. Driver side, passenger side. And the wife was wondering what was going on. So finally, the man started following the van, and then the van finally stopped. So if you picture something that was, I guess, in neutral, and finally, it slows down of its own accord, he dashes out and runs to the open door. There's nobody in the van. No one is driving the van. Both sliding doors in the back were open. No one was in the back. He comes around to the other side. There's no one there either. He then goes in and engages the transmission so it's in park because the thing was moving. It was actually in drive.
Slowly but moving.
Slowly but moving, and finally it lost momentum. And then he starts looking over the bridge. And there was nothing.
Weird.
So I don't know how you explain something like that. So that was another case that came to my attention. It was reported. And in this particular one, they ran back to the car. They had a very strange feeling. The gentleman who was talking to me told me that for some reason, there were no sounds along that river. No sounds. Everything was drowned out. And he just got the creepiest feeling. He ran back to his own car, made a Y turn, and went back. probably crossed another bridge. I don't know.
Friday, February 6th, kick off the Winter Olympics in style with the opening ceremony from Italy, featuring a special performance by Mariah Carey. Celebrate the greatest athletes from around the globe as they come together to go for gold. The opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics.
William Malinin, redefining the sport.
Friday, February 6th on NBC and Peacock.
In the middle of the night, Saskia awoke in a haze. Her husband Mike was on his laptop. What was on his screen would change Saskia's life forever.
I said, I need you to tell me exactly what you're doing. And immediately, the mask came off.
You're supposed to be safe. That's your home. That's your husband.
To keep this secret for so many years, he's like a seasoned pro. This is a story about the end of a marriage, but it's also the story of one woman who was done living in the dark.
You're a dangerous person who preys on vulnerable and trusting people. You're a predator, Michael Urban.
Listen to Betrayal Season 5 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
New year, new goals, and in this economy, a better money plan is more necessary than ever. I am Matt, and I'm Joel. We are from the How to Money podcast, and every week we help you to spend smarter, save more, and make sense of what's going on out there. If you want 2026 to be the year you finally feel in control of your money, we're here to give you the tools and advice to help you make it happen. Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
At the UPS store, we have the key to unlock the world of possibilities because we'll sign for your packages and protect them from porch pirates. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
Your first novel, Anna, was called The Way Through the Woods. Your titles are as scary as the books.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about this without giving away the plot.
Okay, well, this came to my attention, a very strange situation. I was attending a child's birthday party, and the birthday party was so big, all the relatives, all the friends, and everything else was there. There were probably in excess of 100 people. So they had closed the restaurant for the occasion, and I happened to sit, well, she literally almost fell on my lap, sit next to an elderly lady who was the grandmother of the child. And in the course of the evening, you know, we were being served, et cetera, et cetera. She was talking to me and asked me what I was doing. And at this point, you know, I had already been contemplating retiring. And then I said, well, you know, this is what I'm planning on doing. Well, she was very riveted. And the next thing you know, I had taken her phone number. She started telling me over the phone and in person her story of what happened to her in World War II. This woman actually went through the Bavarian woods to escape the Gestapo. She was only, at the time, she was 13, 14 years old. Her father had been recruited to do uniforms for Germany. And her mother was taken because her mother was hiding a child who had a disability. And you know, George, anything that the Germans felt was an imperfection, people were exterminated, set in camps. So what happened to her was very tragic. Ended up being forcibly enlisted, a teacher of the youth corps, the German. They were indoctrinating children, and she was made to be a teacher. She had to preach to them about all the philosophies of the German movement. And then one day she decided to escape. She walks through the Bavarian woods, and that's when she witnesses things that were being replayed. It was really not happening anymore. But because of the violence and the suddenness of it, the tragedies that were happening, things were being replayed before her eyes as she went through the Bavarian woods. It took her several weeks to get through them, and by the time she got out without she had a knowledge of how things were played out when something tragic happens. And you know what I'm alluding to, George. These are all disembodied people, even animals that had passed away because of the war were being reenacted in front of her.
So what you've done in some of your books is you've taken real stories and have created them as novels, right?
Yes. So what I do is I take what I do is I set it up in such a way that the plot ends up being pieces of the true events. In this particular case, because it is considered creative nonfiction, it's about 85 to 90% true. And in this particular case, what really, and I still don't understand it to this day, is how she ended up entering this particular area, a different dimension altogether, where she was interacting with spirits and not realizing that they were spirits.
You've got a book called Haunted Heirlooms. I assume that has to do with artifacts that have been haunted by ghosts.
Yes, yes. So there's 4 stories in Haunted Heirlooms. They were all from actual antique dealers that I had met because I used to collect a lot of books in my time. And I learned about them and their lives. It's been quite a number of years. They finally opened up to me and told me about these objects that they had a problem trying to. They didn't know what to do with it. I mean, whether it was ethically correct to sell it. Some came into them because they were traveling, and once she traveled to Czechoslovakia and ordered an urn, and it came shipped to her door in Boston. And it just went on from there because she did not realize what it housed. She couldn't open the lid. It was what they call a blue and white urn. Beautiful. She doesn't have possession of it anymore at this point. They had to bury it. But it was an urn that was about 2 feet tall. Very expensive.
Were there remains in the urn at that time?
Yes. Not to give you the spoiler, but yes. But there was something that was around it that was protecting it. And that is what terrified her family and led them to consult other people. At the time, they were living in a beautiful home that had a large patio attached to it. And it wasn't even unwrapped yet when it came. But something was trying to get out of the wrapping, and something was helping it to get out of the wrapping. Just picture a big package, a big container, and something was tearing away at the edge of the box.
I'm in St. Louis right now, Anna, and they have arrested a guy who stole 40 bronze urns from cemeteries.
Oh, jeez.
These urns would be on top of the gravestone, and they'd be the cremated remains of the loved one, and he stole the bronze urns. Now, eventually he's going to get haunted, isn't he?
Well, something's going to visit on him.
You would think so. My gosh.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, George, that people don't realize. I know there's some kind of fad right now about dolls, haunted dolls. And as recently as last year, when I was in a book fest, I actually have a doll prop, and it looks like a black-eyed kid. And, people thought it was for sale. They always wanted to see one. They always wanted to get a haunted doll. And here's a cautionary note. You never know what you're acquiring when you're actually intending or hoping to get something of that nature. The next thing you know, you encounter one. To see one or actually hold one and to actually own it is not what you want with these particular objects. They're rare, I have to say that. They don't come often, but when they do, it is incredibly difficult to get rid of them, if not deal with the havoc that happens afterwards.
Listen to more Coast to Coast AM every weeknight at 1 a.m. Eastern. And go to coasttocoastam.com for more.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Venmo Stash, a taco in one hand and ordering a ride in the other. Means you're stacking cash back. Nice. Get up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on your favorite brands when you pay with your Venmo debit card. From takeout to ride shares, entertainment and more, pick a bundle with your go-tos and start earning cash back at those brands. Earn more cash when you do more with Stash. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply. Max $100 cash back per month. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms.
Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR. Fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human. This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
I'm here with SpinQuest, where you can play and win from the comfort of your own home with hundreds of slot games and all of the table games you love with real cash prizes. Right now, $30 coin packs are on sale for $10 for new users. It's all at spinquest.com. That's SPINQUEST.com.
SpinQuest is a free-to-play social casino. Void where prohibited. Visit spinquest.com for more details.
Why have I asked my HVAC guy I found on Angie.com to change my grandpa's trachea tube? Because I was so amazed by how quickly he replaced our air ducts. I knew I could trust him to change Pop-Pop's tube while I was on vacation.
Make it quick, young man.
Aw, see? Pop-Pop trusts you.
I think we should call the doctor. Connecting homeowners with skilled pros for over 30 years. Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find pros for all your home projects at Angie.com.
You can't solve every case for your kids, but with Greenlight, they'll have the instincts and the money skills to stay out of trouble. With the Greenlight debit card and money app, parents can monitor spending and teach financial responsibility. It's an easy way to guide kids as they grow, from earning allowance and tracking chores to teaching how to save and even invest. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/iHeart. That's greenlight.com/iHeart.
Whether your car has small tires, big tires, tires that go fast, tires with extra grip, or tires that just get you from here to there, they can be an unexpected expense. Don't wait any longer. At Big O Tires, we have no credit needed financing available. So no matter your budget, no matter your situation, we have the lowest prices on every kind of tire every day. With multiple lending partners, our financing is tailored to you with credit options made easy. Don't wait another day. Take advantage of our good to no credit financing today. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Now here's a highlight from Coast to Coast AM on iHeartRadio.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Our special guest, Stephen Parsons, is a ghost hunter and a ghost researcher. He has more than 50 years of experience and is an investigator who blends scientific skepticism with an open-minded approach to the unexplained. And unlike many who chase sensationalism, Steve focuses on understanding the human experiences behind these reported hauntings. This book is called Ghostology, The Art of the Ghost Hunter. Stephen, welcome back to the show. You were with my colleague Dave Schrader 10 years ago. It's been a long time.
Heck of a long time, and good morning, California, because the sun's up here and it's going to be a nice day.
What got you into ghost hunting?
I know it's fashionable these days to claim, some sort of childhood experience or birth. I'm a natural born, this and the other. Actually, I just wanted to see a ghost. I read some ghost books, and it sounded like a really cool thing. I want to go and see what a ghost is for myself. And so that's what led me into it, just a simple, plain desire to see and experience a ghost.
What was that first experience for you that really kicked in?
Well, there wasn't one. I think that was a big problem. There wasn't one for a lot of years. Lots of nights sort of sitting in dark, spooky buildings, hoping, waiting, and the slow realization that, hey, this isn't like it is in the books. But eventually, I was fortunate to have a perplexing experience. It was when I was on duty as a night supervising registered nurse in an elder home. And I mean, I'll spare you the long details, but as part of I'd been off for a couple of days, and as part of the normal routine, I did a walk around to make sure everybody was where they should be, and look at the building to see what needed to be done for the night. And one of the residents was walking down the corridor. Nothing unusual about that, something that they regularly would do. And we exchanged a few words, and I went down to talk to the rest of the staff to give them the sort of briefing, only to discover we each thought that the other was playing a practical joke, because they said, are you being serious? And I said, no, he's walking, the gentleman is walking along the corridor upstairs and we need to take care. And then they informed me that he died 2 days prior during my days off. Yeah, wow. So the night wears on. It's now, we start at 8 p.m. and it's now getting close to midnight, and we used to have to do every hour a walk around to check on people and make sure everybody was okay. Well, at the just during the 12 o'clock midnight witching hour walk around, I was on a different floor, and one of the other staff came running down the stairs, making for the entrance door, and I'm out of here. I said, what's the matter? And I'm thinking, we've got a problem here. I've just seen walking down the corridor. And that was the point when I realized that, because there had been nothing untoward about the experience of seeing the gentleman. He had been perfectly solid, perfectly normal. We interacted in a normal way. But he'd gone. He wasn't there with us anymore, physically or figuratively.
Were you a believer prior to that episode?
I think I was a believer as a child. I think that's what drove my desire to see a ghost and to experience a ghost. I think intrinsically, like a lot of children, we believe in fairy stories, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. And so, yeah, I believed in ghosts as a child. But as the years wore on, I became more intrigued by why people see ghosts rather than... So my position has changed down the years.
What would you say at this point a ghost is, Stephen?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, and one of the things that I raise several times within other conversations, because we don't actually have an accurate definition for what a ghost is. The Oxford English Dictionary talks about it as being someone or that is a person who has recently died or has passed away, and they appear back to the living as an apparition. But we've got ghostly buses and ghostly smells and ghostly aircraft and indeed ghostly buildings. So that doesn't really fit. And I think we struggle to define a ghost. We can define what an apparition is, the appearance of something. Sometimes appearance, but I don't think we can accurately define what a ghost is. And that's actually a problem for psychical research.
No, I think you're right, without a question. And do you think the ghostly realm came first, or the physical realm?
it's one of the questions that perplexes us. I think, I would like to imagine, and we can certainly look in the literature and discern that ghosts have been reported for as long as man has been documenting. So we have ghosts in ancient Sumeria, we have them in the Bible, the Chinese refer to ghosts, so do the Romans. And I can't help but believe that one of our ancient cave-living ancestors saw people at the back cave and went to have a look and was intrigued by what it represented. And I think, as long as man has been alive, we've had ghosts. And I think as long as we've had ghosts, we've had the ghost hunter.
Have you ever come across...
Honesty, no. Unless you refer to media presentations of the paranormal. I've been involved in exorcisms where the person considered that, or believed that they were possessed by a demon. And but I've never encountered one of these portrayed evil visitations.
Have you ever been scared, Steve, on any of your ghost hunting tours?
Boringly, no, because it would be kind of like a fisherman running away from a fish. You stand on the end of the pier, dangling your worm into the water and hoping for a bite. Well, that's what a ghost hunter does, effectively, albeit these days armed with a degree of technology. But I can't imagine the fisherman running away, and I can't imagine why you would be frightened by something. If it's as ethereal as many descriptions are portrayed, so it can walk through, it floats silently down corridors, the ghost walks through walls, it appears suddenly, I don't perceive it to be much of a threat. So I kind of no. I've been in situations where I've been fearful, but they've been due to physical phenomena. The building itself is a little leery. The weather conditions are not, or have blown up during the time there. I've genuinely felt the living. I remember one we did at a public house with a very good reputation, and we gaining permission from the landlord 5 years ago. You can imagine the amount of cabling and wire that we sure. And the landlady came back from a night out with her girlfriends, and she was somewhat the worse for wear, and took a great exception to us being there. And she got quite violent and quite vocal about us being there, and started throwing things around, including ashtrays and glasses, and that was a fearful experience, but she was very much with us.
What got her so upset, Steve?
I genuinely don't know. I think we walked into an argument between her and her husband, the landlord and landlady, and I think we were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that she just took exception to being there, and she wasn't holding back.
I'm here with SpinQuest, where you can play and win from the comfort of your own home with hundreds of slot games and all of the table games you love with real cash prizes. Right now, $30 coin packs are on sale for $10 for new users. It's all at SpinQuest.com. That's SpinQuest.com.
SpinQuest is a free-to-play social casino. Void where prohibited. Visit SpinQuest.com for more details.
Why have I asked my HVAC guy I found on Angie.com to change my grandpa's trachea tube? Because I was so amazed by how quickly he replaced our air ducts. I knew I could trust him to change Pop-Pop's tube while I was on vacation.
Make it quick, young man.
Aw, see? Pop-Pop trusts you.
I think we should call the doctor. Connecting homeowners with skilled pros for over 30 years. Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find pros for all your home projects at Angie.com.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt, from renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year. You can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Pro drivers live for race day, but for small business owners, every day is race day. That's why going pro with Lenovo Pro matters. One-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors keep your business on the right track. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
When people report ghostly or hauntings to you, do you generally accept that as, all right, that's possible, that's real, or are you a little more skeptical?
I think as an investigator, I think it's important that you do take initially what the witness says at face value, because that is the only, at that point in time, the only information that you have to work from. So whilst it's important that you do take it at face value and I guess believe what they're saying, that then becomes, that's the foundation, that's the starting block for a process of trying to discern whether that experience that they are telling you is plausible, and trying to test the veracity of what they're saying to you. So yeah, initially you absolutely, if you are competent investigator, you should, as a baseline, take what the witness in total, and try not to make a prejudgment on it, because if you prejudge something, if you go, well, that sounds really incredible to me, that sounds implausible, that sounds fantastic, there is the danger that you start to colour your own perception and judgment and the way that in which you begin to approach the process of investigation. So I think you have to be very open-minded and accept what you're being told.
What would you say your particular expertise is in this field?
Well, I would say my particular expertise has become the looking at the environmental impacts and the environmental causes. So what is it within the location? Because I don't have the skill set, and I work with people who are much more competent psychologists than myself. So I leave the people to the psychologists, and I focus on the environment. So I measure things that need to be measured, but would include the temperature, the ambient sound, the ambient weather, the microclimate inside of the building, the appearance of the building. So are there any cues and triggers within the location itself visually, or that could stimulate the other senses into fooling somebody or making them believe that the experience they're having is in some way paranormal?
Have you ever had any experiences, Steve, with haunted objects like dolls?
I'm surrounded by them. As I sit here now, there must be 7 or 8 haunted objects that people have given me down the years. You know, I don't want this in my house anymore. Take it away.
I don't blame them. Get rid of them.
And do you know what? They've all sat here very well behaved. I have a haunted doll from Salem, New England. I've got a haunted Irish dagger that's supposed to be cursed, a cursed and haunted Ouija board, and they're all terribly well behaved.
What do you think of Ouija boards? I've got mixed feelings.
Well, I'll tell you, perhaps I can sum it up with a little. I used to help a friend who had a New Age store, and we had readers would come in and they would give paid readings to members of the public. And there was a lady, the store started to sell fairly standard Ouija boards. And one of the readers came in one day and she saw the Ouija board stacked up on the shelf. And she immediately turned around and said, if they're not gone, I'm not coming. I'm out of here. Yeah, I'm out of here. And she made a big song and dance about, I can sense that they're evil, they're a portal to. So, being of an inquisitive but playful nature, we removed them all from the display, put them in the back room, except for one which was taped to the underside of the reading table. And the lady duly came back the following day and had a session with her clients. And at the end of the session, I said to her, how did today go? She said, it went fantastically. It was really positive, and the lady took what I was saying, and I went, oh, right. And the Ouija board? Oh, don't speak to me about them. I can sense how evil they are. At that point, I lifted up the table and showed her the Ouija board that was beneath. I wasn't very happy, but it's a piece of cardboard, isn't it? What we see with the Ouija board is primarily people's fears that they pick up from Hollywood movies, perhaps, or from friends, books.
You don't see it, Stephen, as a portal to the dark side?
Not really. It's a piece of cardboard and a piece of wood, or a piece of wood and a piece of wood if you get the more luxurious versions. They're fascinating because they do give you an insight into the way that people want to believe in things. Develop this